Well, I was trying to record this video to kind of explain this petty cash task. Apparently didn't record the first time. However, I'll do it again. So this is the petty cash. We have a balance brought forward of £175, and then we have some payments that have been made throughout the period. Now the task asks us to restore the impressed amount, so to basically calculate the entry to restore the impressed. And then the second question is what will be the closing balance after the impressed amount has been restored. So for us to be all on the same side, we have debits, which are money that go in the petty cash, and credits, which are money that go out of the petty cash. So those are payments, and then these credits will reduce the balance of our petty cash, of the money that we have in our petty cash. The second thing that I think it's very important to note is what do we mean by impressed. So this is an amount that we decide to have in the petty cash at particular time. So for example, every week we want to have £175 inside the petty cash. It's not only every week, but it needs to be a little bit more specific. It needs to be like by Monday morning, the petty cash needs to have £175 inside. So we need to basically, whatever we have spent throughout the week needs to be put back inside the petty cash, so that the amount in the petty cash will still be the same, so £175. So this is very important, I think, because once we understand the concept, then it's easier to answer the question, basically. So in our particular case, this is our impressed, and those are the payments. When we add them up, the total amount spent throughout the week, for example, is £130.28. So if we had £175 and we kind of deducted £130.28 from this £175. In order for us to be able to go back to the previous number, so £175, we really need to put this amount back. If we kind of deduct 130.28 from 175, we will get what is left inside the petty cash, but this doesn't help us because we need to put back the amount that we actually spent. So this will be the amount that we will need to restore the balance, the original balance, because this is the amount that we spent. So if we add up all these payments, we have £130.28, which is the amount that has been spent. And to be able to go back to have £175 inside the petty cash, we need to bring this amount back inside the petty cash. And to do that, basically we need to make an entry of £130.28 that goes in the petty cash from the bank, for example. So we have a bank transfer, and with the bank transfer we put some money in. Well, not bank transfer, but we kind of take money from the bank and we put money in. So this goes in debits. We put money in the petty cash, and the money that we put in is exactly the same amount that we have spent throughout the week. So this will be the first answer. So to restore the impressed, we need to put £130.28 back inside the petty cash. So this will be a debit entry. Yeah. Now the second question is pretty much straightforward. It's basically to calculate the balance carried down, and I always do balance carried down and forward together. However, of course, it depends on what the task requires. So in this particular case, it wants to know what it will be the balance carried down. The balance carried down is the balance that you will have at the end of the period. So that will be either the end of the week or the end of the month and so on. Then the balance carried down will be also exactly the same as the balance brought forward. So those two balances, they always match, they are the same. But one is for the end of the month, let's say 31st of August, and the other one is for the beginning of the month, so that will be the 1st of September. So balance carried down or closing balance, end of the month. Balance brought forward is opening balance of the month and is at the beginning of the month. Now, from your previous studies, you might remember that to calculate this balances, what you need to do is basically calculate the totals first. So you calculate on one side 175 plus 130.28, and that equals 300. I'll write it here, 305.28. On the other side, we have already written it down. However, this may get confusing because normally in the petty cash you will write it down, whereas in other ledgers like sales ledger or other accounts, you might not you normally wouldn't really write down the total. However, we have calculated it. We kind of can put it in brackets because we don't really need to write it down. So we choose the biggest amount of the two and we write this down. So that will be written down here, 305.28, and the same amount will be written down here, 305.28. Now, because this is our total, this is the total on this side, so we don't really have nothing else to insert here, because this is basically the total of these two amounts. However, in this column here, there is a difference between this amount here and this amount here. We are missing 305.28 minus 130.28. We are missing 175 pounds to be able to get to the total. And this amount, 175 pounds, is the balance carried down, which would be the balance brought forward for the beginning of the new week or the new month. So there we go. Now you have 175 pounds here, and you have 175 pounds on the debit side as well. One thing that you need to note as well, and I think is quite important, is that this amount matches the impressed amount. And this must be the case in the petty cash with an impressed system, because if it wasn't, let's say we had a different amount here, then you wouldn't really have an impressed. So the impressed was kind of given to you at the beginning, and we kind of say that must be 175 pounds. It can be more, it can be less. It needs to be the same amount because it's a petty cash operated by an impressed system. That's why we kind of knew that this should have been the balance carried down and the balance carried forward for this particular task. So yeah, I hope this helped. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll try to help as much as I can. Thank you.